Hi traders, welcome to another video. Alright, so this video itself is not a market analysis video, but I'd like to share with you more in terms of how we analyze harmonic patterns, alright? Because one of the traders actually asked on one of the video that we did, what are some of the pending technical scores that we adopt over here, alright, to trade the harmonic pattern. But before I jump into that topic, alright, I'd like to just quickly share with you what's happening for this week and next week. Alright, basically if you look into it, alright, it's the holiday session, alright. What I mean is that of course today is Christmas Eve and tomorrow is Christmas, alright. All the banks are having holidays, and if you look into next week itself, majority of the week itself is also holiday, right? The banks are having holiday mainly because of New Year as well. Right, so I'd like to take this opportunity to let you know that it will be best, alright, if you just take a break, alright. Anyway, it's holiday, right? Take a break off trading. Do spend some time with your family, and or even if you want, take this time to read up and develop yourself in terms of trading or any other aspects in terms of personal development, alright. So take time off the market, right? And I would like to take this opportunity to wish all the subscribers and traders out there, right, a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Alright, so let's jump into this week, this video, right? The basic thing that I want to cover today is mainly that how we give in terms like a score to our trades, right? Specifically in terms of harmonic patterns. Right, so there's two ways that we can filter off or even give a score to our trades. One of it is through the technical, right? Basically technical analysis. The other way you can adopt is really through the fundamental, right? But in this video, I will not go through much in terms of fundamental, but simply list down some of the things that you can consider in terms of fundamental aspects, alright? Mainly, the most important one is really the central bank monetary policy, alright, whether the central bank is going to QE, alright, going to print more money, or are they going to raise interest rates. So that's really important because fundamentally that would give a very broad direction in terms of which direction the currency will move. Alright, and of course economic data, this one you can get it all from Forex Factory, alright, whether is it below or above the market expectation, right? Definitely will move the currency markets in either up or down direction as well. And of course, in terms of fundamental, is also the risk sentiment of the investors and traders, right? Whether it's on a risk on or a risk off environment, right? This would once again move the currency market. Alright, so today in this video we won't cover much on this, but really focus on the technical score. So in terms of technical score, there are 5 components that you can really adopt, right, in terms of giving it a filter system. The first one, and I would say the most important one in terms of technical analysis, is really the overall trend, right? Is it in an uptrend, downtrend, or in a range environment? And the second one, which I would say the second most important, right, is really in terms of structure, SNR, support and resistance, is the area having a very clear support or resistance zone, right? And just keep in mind that all this technical score is on top of a valid harmonic pattern, alright? That means once you identify a pattern, you will want to also include all these things in to add as a filter system or even a scoring system for yourself. Right, the third one is the FIP extension, and the fourth is FIP expansion. Alright, so there's a slight difference in this, which I will also go through in this video. Alright, so basically this video covers majority of the technical score, and of course the last thing is the FIP time zone. Right. So if you're not very clear in terms of what is the difference between FIP extension, expansion, or even time zone, don't worry, because we'll cover that fully and in depth in this video itself. Alright. So let me start with okay, let me delete this. Alright, so let's start with this pair, alright, Euro USD. So it's a 4-hour chart, alright. So if you would like to practice, alright, there is a pattern forming over here. So if you like to really practice on it, you can pause this tape and take a few moments to see if you can spot any harmonic patterns. Alright, okay. So let me draw in the harmonic pattern. So for those who are familiar with it and manage to do it, alright, basically if you pull Fibonacci 2, alright, from the top recent high here to the recent low, you can see the retracement comes in at the 618. Alright, so this gives us a valid B point, alright, XAB. So once you have a valid B point, alright, what you want to do is you want to then pull Fibonacci 2 from this low, alright, to your B point, basically from A point to B point, and your C point would come in around the 61.8 retracement level. And you can see this is a valid C point as well. So once you have your X, A, and B and C point identified, the last segment is basically identifying your completion point, which is around the D area. Alright, and for this pattern itself is actually a Gartley pattern, and your D point completes around the 786. Alright, so that's the usual. Okay, let me just draw in the triangle. So that's the usual way of identifying harmonic patterns, alright. But for us, how we trade it over here is I personally don't take Gartley pattern at the 786. Alright, what I like to do is I like to pull in Fibonacci 2, alright, from this point, B point, to my A point, and what I want to do is I instead look at the area of 127 extension right over here. Alright, I'll share with you why, alright, but let's assume that I'll take it over here. Alright, so let's assume we have this Gartley pattern identified. Alright, so I want to include in my technical scores. Right, let me delete the flip so it's clearer. I want to include in my technical score. So the first thing we look at is the trend. Alright, so since we are trading on a 4-hour time frame, what I'll do is I'll not just identify the trend on the 4-hour time frame, which is the current time frame, but I would like to go one time frame above. Alright, so if it's a 4-hour, I like to go to the daily time frame and look at the overall trend. What is it doing? Alright, so what you see over here, though there is this significant pullback, alright, the overall trend on the daily time frame is still downwards. Alright, basically you have lower high and lower low. So on the daily time frame, it's still down. Alright, so when you look at this on a 4-hour chart, basically the trend and this pattern, alright, this is a bearish pattern, aligns. Alright, so with that, I would like to simply give it a +2, alright, because it aligns with the overall trend on a daily time frame, which is a higher time frame. Alright, the next thing I want to do is I want to see if this area, alright, which is identified as the completion of my harmonic pattern, do they have a structure zone around as well? So this is very simple. What you do is you simply drop a horizontal line around that completion area, right, and you simply look to the left. Alright, so you can do it on the current time frame, or you can even go up to a daily time frame. That means one time frame higher. And you identify if there's any significant structural support level. Alright, so on this time frame, once again, it's very clear. Right, 3 bounces over here. Alright, some of it over here, but it got rejected. Alright, so I wouldn't count it as a very strong one in terms of this area, but this is a very strong level which we can see over here. Alright, some minor one here as well. Alright, and historically closer to the pattern, we have this view as well. Alright, so in that you can see that, alright, sometimes it respects this level, sometimes it doesn't. Alright, so with that, once again, it's up to your preference as well, you know, how you want to give it a score. Alright, but if for me, alright, looking at this few recent bounces, I would give it a 2 points. Alright, but of course, if you deem that this structure level, alright, this resistance or support level is not very strong, you can even give it a 1 point or even 0. Alright, so for me, 2 point is basically the highest point. Alright, so let's move into fib extension. Alright, so the difference, let me briefly explain to you what's the difference between fib extension and fib expansion. Alright, the tool that you use, alright, let me go up on a blank new space. Alright, the tool that you use is also very different. Alright, you can see over here there's a fib retracement tool and a trend-based fib extension. Right. So when I'm referring to fib extension, I'm actually referring to this tool. called the fib retracement. Alright, so basically what I mean by extension, alright, if I pull it in, you can see that the numbers runs from 0 to 100, and beyond 100 we have 127.2, 141.4 and 161.8. Right, so anything above the 100 is considered the extension. Right, whereas for expansion, right, let me bring in that tool. Expansion, I'm using this one itself, right? So this one, if you use this tool, right, you need to identify 3 points, right? 1, 2, 3, and you can see the extension or expansion level, all right, runs from 127 and 1618. Alright, so the difference between these two, alright, I'll use it in on the chart itself to explain to you on this Gartley pattern. Right, basically for extension, what I like to do, once again, pull in this Fibonacci retracement. I would like to pull from this point, alright, basically the midpoint of your pattern to your A point, and you can see this 127.2 is considered a fib extension. Right, so we identified this level. Then I'd like to do is also from midpoint, which is your B point, alright, pull it to point C. And you can see how this level coincide exactly at the 1.4 extension as well. Right, so you have two levels coming in together, and on top of that, if you use simply the retracement tool from your X to A, you can see it comes in around your 88.6 as well. So we have 3 levels coming in together, right? Your 88.6 retracement, your 127.2 extension, as well as a 141. So with that, alright, I'll give it a +2, right? Basically because it has many things happening around that level. Right, so let me explain to you what is expansion. Right, expansion, basically what it measures is actually whether this move is it a one-to-one movement. Right, so if I clone it, you can see whether it is a one-to-one movement. So a one-to-one movement occurs or completes somewhere around this region, which is the 1.1056 level. Right, but you can do it like this, alright, manually, or what you can do is you can use this fib trend-based fib extension, or in other words, it's actually fib expansion, to measure this. So just now I showed you that you need 3 points, right, to use this tool. So basically the 3 points is your A, point B, and point C. Alright, and you can see this level which shows 1, alright, is basically measuring a one-to-one movement, right, which you can see on this line. So I'll delete it to be clearer. Alright, so you can see that your one-to-one movement, harmonic movement, completes around this region. Alright, so we have basically this highlighted in gray, this rectangle area that is considered the PRZ zone. Alright, because what we have is, once again, 88.6 retracement level, 127 extension, 141 extension, and in terms of fib expansion, we have a one-to-one around this region. So once again, you can give it a +2 because we have something happening over there. Alright, the last one I want to go through with you is how you can use fib time zone. Alright, so there is a tool that measures it as well, called the fib time zone. Basically, if I pull it, alright, from one point to the other point, what I want to do is to measure, alright, between the ratio between this to this, the time frame, alright, and from here to here, alright. So the numbers that you see below, 0 to 1, 1 to 2, it simply means that this length, alright, the time taken for it to move from here to here and from here to here is equivalent, alright, is 1:1. So in terms of harmonic pattern, what we want to do is we start from point X, alright, and we pull it to point B, which is basically the midpoint of harmonic. And what we want is that we want to expect, alright, the pattern to complete in a ratio of 1:1. Alright, and in terms of harmonic pattern, the minimum ratio you want to get is about 0.618. Alright, meaning from here to here, the earliest you want to expect the pattern to complete is around this region. Alright, so what it means is that, alright, this is up to you how you want to adopt this, alright, but simply for us is that Should a pattern occur or even complete too early, we would potentially want to skip that pattern, right? Simply means that we do not want to take that pattern. And of course, if the pattern takes too long to complete, alright, you might also want to consider giving that trade a miss, alright? Basically means you don't want to take the pattern. Alright, so the minimum is the 0.618 ratio, the maximum is 1.618, and of course the ideal one is a 1-to-1 ratio. Alright, so with that in mind, so if patterns, alright, if the price comes in and complete at a 1-to-1, you might want to potentially give it a +2 as well. Alright, so if you add all the technical score together, alright, in terms of maximum point, you have a maximum of 10 points, alright. Then that's where you can set certain rules for yourself. You know, for example, if you're very conservative, you might want to have a minimum of 7 points and above before you take that trade. Or if you're more aggressive, you know, you can set, as long as you have 5 points, I will take that pattern. Something like this, alright? So this is really up to you to decide how you want to play around with such technical score. Alright. Some traders will even play around with it such that, you know, if it's 7 or even 10 points, I will go in with maybe 2% risk of my account. But let's say if it's 5 points to between 7 points, alright, somewhere between 5 to 7, then I might just risk 1% of my account to take that trade. So this is really something very flexible for you to play around with. But what I want to share with you in this video is really how you can include certain scoring system, right, to make your trade plan mechanical, right? Meaning there is no moment, you know, whether should I take this trade, should I not take this trade, and etc. Alright, so I hope this video give you a clearer idea of how you can use certain scoring system. Alright, this basically is just a technical one. Alright, how you can use this to give a point system to your trade. Alright, and this is specifically for harmonic pattern, which we use a lot of Fibonacci. Alright, so if you have any questions, alright, I hope this video is clear enough. Alright, but you know, along the line, if I miss certain aspect that you are not clear of, feel free, alright, to drop comments below on this video, and I'll be more than happy to clarify them with you. Alright, and of course, how I got to do this video is basically one of the traders asked it. That's why I thought, you know, why not just make a video and share it with everyone else. Alright, and of course, if you're familiar with this website, alright, this is a website and a blog that I write, alright, called the FXP Research. We do have this Ask Research initiative, alright. Basically what we want is to have this platform for you to reach out to us, to ask us anything about trading, or you know, things that you might want to clarify, unclear of. Feel free to write in to us and we'll get back to you on that as well. Alright, so with that, I would like to once again wish you Merry Christmas and do enjoy this festive season with your family. I'll talk to you soon.